You have obvious design flaws. And in this case, with the frame failure, we have a case of manufacturer defect, and it is a defect. Enough is enough. I've made it very clear where I stand, and I'll say this publicly. I am not, I am not going to let them try to, what's the word? Influence me. Let's just say whether that's financially or anything else. Yeah, I'm not playing so nice anymore. And after the video I saw tonight from one of our members, yeah, even more so. I mean, simple safety regulations, something where they're held accountable.
These frames are coming out, they're rushed. The welds are just awful. People who are not trained are doing them. The steel is not adequate. And all of this is starting to now come to light.
It is clear that the welding in some of the spots of these frames that come in from Lippert is subpar welding. I got a little bit of let's say, I don't want to say insider information, but let's just say I got some information from some people that know something here. I can tell you exactly why we're seeing it more with Grand Design. Their silence. John Clark himself needs to come out, acknowledge this problem, probably because I'm annoyingly obnoxious. That's probably why. No.
Well, that's what sometimes that's what people need to bring everybody together and actually maybe get some action, get something done.
And then what's worse is when you see missing lag bolts. Like there was no lag bolt ever in there.
There's no real regulation from the get-go anyways. So where are the standards that we even need to uphold to begin with? Some people who are trying to prevent this and, so maybe put a Band-Aid on for now or, stop it before it gets too bad.
How did they get away with this? This is where regulation comes in play, where it's like somebody needs to be held accountable for this.
Yeah.
But my concern is them fixing it right to begin with. Why is this happening, Chris? I just don't understand.
There's a bigger picture to the whole thing, the whole industry in general.
There is.
And that's what needs to get fixed. And I know that's one of the things you're kind of marching towards is strengthening numbers and bringing people together on these groups so that there's a bigger voice. And like you said, it's not just a bunch of chit-chat chatter, actually trying to get something done. Hey guys, welcome back to Why Wait. I'm Chris, and I am here with Pete West from West's on the Move. Well, who's Pete West and why am I talking to him? Well, as you guys know on our channel, I do a lot of videos about mainly trying to help people out. We have videos on, replacing springs and repairing water heaters and roofs. A lot of our channel is maintenance and RV how-tos. So we're here because of the dreaded frame flex, which I'm sure by now you've heard of. It's going around YouTube. I believe everybody has probably seen a video on it now. If you're on YouTube or heard about it. And mainly we're going to be talking about Grand Design and the issues they're having with frame flex. And that's where Pete comes in. Why you're kind of the guy that everyone's going to get help nowadays with Grand Design.
Probably because I'm annoyingly obnoxious. That's probably why. No.
Well, that's what sometimes that's what people need to bring everybody together and actually maybe get some action, get something done.
Yeah. So how it all started was maybe it's been a full month now, or pretty close to a month. I was asked to, or I offered to help out a different site. It was Grand Design RV frame failure.
Yes.
And I was doing that, and then we kind of had the owner of the site and I kind of had a difference of how the site should go, and it was her site, so it wasn't my place. So I stood back, and then basically I decided to leave that site, and I was busy with other stuff trying to help people out from behind the scenes. And it kind of evolved, and a number of people asked me, "Hey, are you going to start a Facebook site? You're going to do that? What happened to you on the other one?" Yesterday, I just started the new Facebook site, Grand Design RV Major Issues. We're kind of broadening it a little bit more because of some issues that we found out with one of the Solitudes too. And so
I know about that.
We wanted to kind of combine. You know about that, right? So we kind of wanted to combine some things, get more people onto the site.
We'll have links to the new site that he's talking about now, which is called I believe, Grand Design.
Grand Design RV Major Issues with an S at the end.
We will cover, I'm sure, more than just frame flex, which is going around right now. as well as probably leaf springs, axles, frames, and other issues like that.
Mhm. Yes. Basically, when you have obvious design flaws, and in this case with the frame failure, we have a case of manufacturer defect, and it is a defect. And so, with that said, they are ignoring it. They're silent right now. Grand Design has been silent. The CEO, everybody else. Luckily, I have a contact who has helped us out in the past with our warranty stuff, and you know who I'm talking about, and she's been a total blessing.
Would that be Chris Hollins?
That would be Chris Holland. Yes, she's the only person I trust there, and I'll say that publicly. She's the only person I trust. Now I know she's under pressure because she answers to, Brad Smith, who's the director of warranty and customer service. He actually asked to speak with me a couple of weeks ago, 2 different times, and so we spoke first. The first conversation went pretty well, and I basically told him about, the problems that people are having with customer service. People getting hung up on multiple times, and just rude and bad customer service.
Family, and it's a different kind of RV company and Grand Design owners for life. And that's one reason a lot of people chose and went with this company, because I'll tell people when they ask me about Grand Design, and I'll kind of be like, listen, they're all kind of made the same. And I tell people this,
Right.
all the time. The difference with Grand Design was supposed to be, on the customer service end, that when things do go wrong, and they're going to go wrong,
Right.
they're going to stand by you and help you out. And
Yes.
that's why I would direct people to Grand Design, because I was like,
Right.
listen, no matter what company you're going to go with, you're going to have issues. The difference is Grand Design is known for like helping their customers out and standing behind their, behind their name. And now that seems to really be taking a hit right now.
Yeah, that's taken a major hit. Wow. Yeah, it's hard for me to say this because it's like we bought into the whole thing too, the Grand Design family. I use a friend, Charlotte, who and they're still kind of part of the Grand Design family, but now she's pretty disgruntled by the work that wasn't done on their rig, and supposedly it's going to get done at this next rally they're going to, but it was terrible. The work was terrible.
Mm.
And so with that said, you kind of get disgruntled about the whole family thing. It's like, do you do that to family? I mean, is this the type of stuff you do to family?
Well, not the family members we like, anyways.
No, right?
Have you heard of Freedom for Five with AJ and Kayla?
Yes.
Have you spoken with them?
We've actually spoken on the phone numerous times.
Okay.
Because of the contact that I had with Chris, I referred them to her, and she or somebody was able to get the date to transport their rig back to Elkhart. So it may be in Elkhart right now. I think it is. But they live in this thing full time.
Yeah.
So yeah. So they had between AJ's work shift as a firefighter and Kayla with the kids, they had to clean out their RV much faster than they thought. And that was fine for them because they're getting it taken care of. The biggest concern I have, though, too, is this really a fix? It is compromised. These frames are compromised. It is clear that the welding in some of the spots of these frames that come in from Lippert is subpar welding. And I say that only because of other welders and engineers that I've spoken with. I don't have any experience, but I can tell you when there's a bad weld.
Yeah, we've had people come out from the RV industry who work in Elkhart come out as welders and say, we recently just saw the one video where they're talking about, these frames are coming out, they're rushed. The welds are just awful. People who are not trained are doing them. The steel is not adequate. And all of this is starting to now come to light. And I would like to point out that this really isn't just a Grand Design issue. I think it's come up with Grand Design more than anything else because of the Grand Design family, how tight everybody is. And we do have these Grand Design groups in these rallies. And it is a major company on the market right now. I feel like Grand Design probably has more RVs out there than anybody. So I think that's one of the reasons we're seeing it more with Grand Design. I kind of believe this is going to be popping up and the more people dig into it across lots of different RV fifth wheels.
I can tell you exactly why we're seeing it more with Grand Design. Their silence actually made the recommendation that Don Clark himself needs to come out, acknowledge this problem, you know, have the company pull up their bootstraps and see what they can do to take care of their customers.
Yeah, steer them in some kind of direction, because that's all people want is just some kind of a reassurance of, hey, we're at least we're looking into this, we're aware of it. This is who you need to contact. This is who you need to call. This is what we're going to try to do about it. Just sit tight. We're at least working on it. Say something, and just to kind of reassure people, because that's the problem. People right now feel like they have nowhere to go. They're not getting help. Hey, you need to talk to the dealer. Hey, you need to talk Grand Design. Grand Design sends you back to the dealer. You know, Lippert's blaming it on Grand Design. Grand Design's kind of blaming it on Lippert, and just nobody really knows where to go to get these things taken care of. Hey, I'm a first-year owner in warranty. I'm a third owner. I'm out of warranty. What can these people do? And that's where Grand Design, if they would just do anything. I know they released that one little statement about a week and a half ago or so, which just it really wasn't much.
No, but let me elaborate on that one. The day that I had my first call with Brad Smith, just a little bit later that day, somebody texted me or something and said, "Hey, did you see the post on Grand Design's website?" I was like, "No, I haven't." So my wife looked it up real quick, and all it was a frequently asked questions, and we stand by our. What I think I may have missed. Do they stand by their customers at all? That's kind of missing in these statements.
Yep.
So when I saw this, I thought this should have been out a long time ago. So they didn't do anything. They just think that they can pacify these all of us owners, I should say, and enough is enough. And I've made it very clear where I stand, and I'll say this publicly: I am not going to let them try to, what's the word? Influence me. Let's just say, whether that's financially or anything else. I mean, here's the thing: when you got a rig that's probably isn't actually fixed correctly, because we've seen people where they had to go back again, and then they tell you that they can't warranty the work that they just did. I have a problem with that, and I know that that's happened twice that I know of. And so again, I talk to these people. I mean, I literally am talking to these customers of theirs. How do I say this? They won't acknowledge the work that they did can be certified.
Yeah, because there's no,
and that's what we're not seeing too.
There's no real regulation from the get-go anyways. So where are the standards that they even need to uphold to begin with? That's another problem with the industry.
Yeah, don't get me started on regulation, because that's another issue that I plan on pushing pretty hard. I mean, simple safety regulations, something where they're held accountable. Look at Boeing right now. What's going on with Boeing? This feels like Grand Design is the RV version of Boeing.
Yeah,
and so
you had mentioned it's almost like some of these units are coming straight out of the factory, basically maxing out their GVRW right from the beginning, and the sticker they put on there that as full timers in a Grand Design Solitude mid bunk unit, our cargo capacity is 2,000 pounds, and right from the get go, bare bones, one solar panel, a mattress, washer, dryer, and you almost feel like you've already hit that limit. It's crazy. Now, I know they probably build these things with the idea of, okay, people are going to take these things out 3 times a year, not just on the weekends. We're not building them for people to live in. But if you watch your weight, it's very doable with that cargo capacity. We watch our weight all the time. We get weighed. I think people just need to be educated too on that factor.
Yes.
It is hard to sometimes find your number. And I'll put a link up to one of my videos where I go through the whole process with the spreadsheet, find your pin weights, your cargo capacity, where to find all these numbers, how to do the math. If people want to really educate themselves and learn how to watch their weight, but it doesn't really do you any good if that camper right from the get-go is already, let's say, just screwed when you first get it anyways.
Right. So let me elaborate on that one. let's take example of a Solitude 390 RK rear kitchen.
Your kitchen, yep.
With that said, if you look on those, because we have a friend who actually I've talked to two people here the last 2 days regarding that, and there's a big cargo bay underneath of that kitchen.
Oh yeah.
So if you start putting stuff back there, and you got a kitchen above it, I mean, having a kitchen in the back to begin with is a bad design.
Oh, the bounce back there.
Yeah. So then you start putting an empty cargo bay and saying to people, oh, you can only put maybe, I don't know, maybe 500 pounds back there or something. I mean, seriously?
When I first saw that unit, the first thing I said to my wife is, I said, well, number one, I said, I love this unit. I love the floor plan. The second thing I said was, this storage on this unit is insane. And there's no way you should be able to even use half of it, because you are going to go overweight like that. They give you so much room, but you cannot use all that storage on that model. The cargo capacity is very limited.
Yeah. So another thing to add to that, my friend who's got the 390 RK, actually the two people that I've talked to, he and somebody else, he talked to somebody from Grand Design, and he asked him, how come there's not a third axle back here? Like the momentum's here. He was answered by this guy to say that customers don't want to see a third axle. They don't want to have a third axle on the back of, the thing. Then why are you making it so long? Why are you designing this kitchen above all the cargo bay? This is just, look, I'm not an engineer, but I think I'm fairly smart enough to figure out that that's a dumb idea. That was a dumb idea. And I'm going to say it.
The leaf springs on our unit were flat from day one. They were always flat. We broke 2 leaf springs. We have videos on that. We have upgraded to the Roadmaster slipper spring system. We upgraded 8K axles, 8K springs, more X Factor cross members, hydraulic disc brakes, everything to keep us from breaking leaf springs on an RV that we get weighed and, we keep under regulation. And we were still breaking leaf springs. We even broke the spindle on our axle one time, which was a nightmare. And I don't know if it's a cost thing. They feel like, for me, from the get-go, if I were to buy my RV at a lot, I would be more than happy to have 8K axles, independent suspension, a thicker steel. I would pay for that. I would want that rolled into the cost right from the get-go, instead of having to do all those modifications down the road and have to pay for that. I think if you add another $10,000 or $12,000 to the unit price to begin with, that's fine. There's $10 a month rolled into my, payment. I'd rather do it that way anyway, the peace of mind, than you see all these people having to make these modifications and down the road.
Yeah. Well, so who do you see that's doing that right now with the independent suspension? Alliance, their rigs, Brinkley, good example. These are up and coming RV companies that are listening to their customers. But here's the thing about this. It's like we had to pay extra, of course, for our independent suspension. That was before the bolt-on. And I will never not have independent suspension on one of these things. Never will I not have it. It is it has been the number one upgrade still to this day. That in my Gen Y executive fifth wheel kingpin.
I'm glad you brought that up. I know you have the Gen Y, Goose Box, and you have the IS, and I have the Roadmaster suspension system. And one of the big things with that is, here is Grand Design trying to put blame on their customers for anything they can to avoid having to fix this problem. Oh, you're overweight. Oh, you've changed out the pin box. Oh, you're not towing with the right truck. They seem to be trying to find anything they can to avoid having to, pony up for the mistakes that, came out of the factory.
Yeah, well, I can tell you right now with the Gen Y, I got a little bit of, let's say, I don't want to say insider information, but let's just say I got some information from some people that know something here. Come to find out, on the Gen Y executive hitch, or any Gen Y for all that matters, Lippert wants their piece of the pie. Lippert wanted to be, I was told that Lippert wanted to be the only seller for the Gen Y pin boxes.
Okay. Okay.
And I guess Gen Y said, no, these are our pin boxes. We'll sell them just fine. And so a lot of it's got to do with money. So we know that Lippert has their own pin boxes, I should say. And so they're going to start pushing that. And then they're going to say, hey, yours doesn't work. I can tell you, I think the reason why our rig has sustained as long as it has without worse frame failure is because of the independent suspension and the Gen Y hitch. I am 100, I'll say at least 90% convinced that that's why.
Well, I mean,
And so with that
same
said,
here. Yeah, you can't tell me that those standard hitches, fifth wheel, pin boxes that come out are better than the Reese Goose box with airbags and the Gen Y hitch,
right?
And tell me that now because you have these that's going to cause frame failure. Like you said, it's all about money, what's approved, covering people's butts with
It is.
It's crazy. Are you showing signs of frame flex on your RV?
Yes. As a matter of fact, the SRT team was leaving an owners rally in Florida near Jacksonville, and they came up to us in Jacksonville there, and they tested it. And they said, I'm just barely within specs, but I definitely have beginning signs of frame flex or frame failure. Excuse me. That's the proper term in this case. They did the measurements. We hooked up the truck to it, the whole works. And then they came inside to the bedroom and they saw where that panel is completely off the wall. I haven't even touched it. I've left it because I want to look at the bolts to see if there's bolts missing, like a lot of them have. The lag bolts, another bad design, lag bolts. But yeah, they told me, they confirmed, that, I got an appointment. And so, yeah, we're going to be there in April and we'll see what happens. But I've already made it very clear to Brad Smith, I want to see it before you close it up. I want to see the nose section of the rig before you close it up, because you're closing it up on everybody. And we're going to have some serious problems here if I don't get to see just the basics, that it was welded decent, and just tell me what you did.
Yeah, they don't want you taking pictures or taking video. That's fine. But you should be able to put your eyes on that if you want to before they close that back up.
Yeah. And I was told that the pictures and video have come back to haunt them from a legal standpoint, from my understanding. And so, yeah, their credibility, and I'm to a point, I was a little nicer about it when I interviewed with Tom from enjoythejourney.life. I was trying to work with them and everything else, but it's quite apparent that they're trying to shine a lot of people on. Yeah, I'm not playing so nice anymore.
For some of our viewers out there and people watching, if they're not too sure, what are some signs that they can look for, or some tests that they can do to see if they may have frame failure or frame flex going on in their RV?
Okay, so I am no expert in this, and I'm always going to refer to, some people may have a copy, we've posted it ourselves, of the technical service bulletin that came out for the dealerships, not for the owners, but the dealerships.
And that's on
dealerships want nothing to do with this. Yes, it is. It's on the Facebook site under the pictures. And they're just pictures of that, technical service bulletin. But what we're finding for a lot of people, they're being referred to dealerships, and dealerships act like they don't know what's going on. And they don't want to work on it because guess what? They're not making nearly as much money
warranty work.
On warranty work as opposed to regular, shop work. And so people are like left stranded. It's like, what do you do? And so where they should be doing is taking them to Grand Design, or Grand Design needs to come pick them up. And now they have done that for Kayla and AJ. Yeah, that's kind of what's going on. But as far as the different signs of it, I'm probably not as qualified, but I do know of a few things, and that's going to be like sawdust. If you see sawdust in your cabinets, like in my case, we have the bedroom in the front, or separation of cabinets, or just things rubbing up and down. You can see it on the wallpaper, like our nightstands. You can see where it's been rubbing up and down.
Or you've been hitching up.
I know
your pin box go up in there, like to a little bit of play, but not more than an inch.
Now that's when it started to get worse.
Yeah,
that's when the actual pin box starts going up inside of there, and the front end is up like this. there's a problem, a massive problem.
Some people who are trying to prevent this and, so maybe put a band-aid on it for now, or,
Yeah.
stop it before it gets too bad. We've seen all the videos and pictures of people taking out these lag bolts that you mentioned, and the lag bolts are
Yes.
basically where you have the frame and you have the walls of the RV that come down, and that's how they connect to the
Right.
Lippert frame.
Uh, is spec'd out by Grand Design or whoever the RV manufacturer is.
Yes.
The holes that come into the main frame, the Lippert frame, are 1/2 inch. What was happening is, sorry, I was just shaking my head over this. They were putting in 3/8 inch lag bolts,
Okay.
not bolt or anything like that, just lag bolts, drilled in through there. And they're like, they're not holding much. They just back right out. Exactly. And then what's worse is when you see missing lag bolts, like there was no lag bolt ever in there. How did they get away with this? This is where regulation comes in play, where it's like somebody needs to be held accountable for this.
Yeah, I mean, how many
Somebody needs to be
units are
held
we
accountable for
trying
this.
to, like, how fast are we trying to pump these units out and get them out the door to where we're just not even finishing putting bolts in? It is pretty mind-boggling. It's pretty
Yeah.
crazy. Now, on your Facebook page, there's lots of links, lots of video where people are helping each other out. You can actually go to that Facebook
Right.
page and see what other people are doing, where those lag bolts
Yes.
are at, how they're kind of fixing the problem to at least, maybe stop it, or kind of, like I said, kind of put a band-aid
Right.
for a while anyways, maybe.
Well, I will tell you too, the purpose of this Facebook site is to first help people recognize what's going on. And that's by talking to other owners, and actually even some, like I said, we've got some engineers, welders, the whole works.
What seems to be the difference? How come some people are getting getting acknowledgement from Grand Design, and Grand Design's taking care of them, or Grand Design is bringing their camper to Elkhart, while other people are told to just deal with the dealerships? Do you know where that line is and why some people are making headway and some aren't?
I'm going to say that yes, I'm sure a bunch of the YouTubers probably get, because they do videos all the time,
Well, it's
and it can be a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah.
Right. So, but then some YouTubers just get ignored because they're a second owner. And so they're the ones that get hung up on twice. And then, oh, hey, you called us back again after we hung up on you twice. So hopefully they're watching this. But with that said, is it just seems to be so random as to who they want to help, or if I'm helping somebody and they're getting us, they're getting more attention or something because it's going to make them look bad, at Grand Design, then they'll bring them right in, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But my concern is them fixing it right to begin with. Why is this happening, Chris? I just don't understand.
There's a bigger picture to the whole thing, the whole industry in general.
Is.
And that's what needs to get fixed. And I know that's one of the things you're kind of marching towards is strengthening numbers and bringing people together on these groups so that there's a bigger voice. And like you said, it's not just a bunch of chit chat chatter, actually trying to get something done and get some change in the industry made, overall.
Exactly. You can't just keep going back and forth talking about it. We see that on the site, and that was the original intent of that first Facebook site. That unfortunately it failed because of the ownership taking it offline. With all that data and information that was there, it was taken offline, and you can't hear a word from them. So I would imagine there was maybe a buyout or something along that line. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I guess, but the point is that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to actually get some action taken and not just talking about it. But it seems like I'm learning new things every day, or a new situation.
There's breaking news and coming out from these people.
Yeah.
It's just been like for the past, I feel like 2 months now, it's been a learning process of all this enlightening and everyone's just kind of waking up to what's really going on,
Yeah. I did put in a message to talk to Brad again, Brad Smith, and I want to touch base with him and say, let me ask you where we're at here, because a lot of stuff that I'm seeing right now, it doesn't seem like there's real progress being made. And so I've got a message into him. I haven't heard back from them yet. And that was as of this morning. And so we'll see what happens with that phone conversation. They can run, but they can't hide because I
Yeah,
am a
yeah.
royal pain in the butt.
Well, and
So
it's good. Sometimes, that's what they need is a push, and hopefully we just start to hear more from them, and they just kind of come out of the closet and start really talking about, what people can do, the issues that they're having, what they're trying to do on their end, and just kind of get this whole thing straightened out and just give people some hope because a lot of people are kind of worried out there right now, and everybody's kind of checking their campers and looking into it, and a lot of people are starting to see a lot of early signs of the frame failure, and
yes,
kind of
they
worried
are.
about what do I do? What do I do right now to stop this? What do I do, to get it fixed? And people need answers.
Well, they're also afraid right now because they're afraid if they say the slightest little thing that Grand Design's going to turn them away. I mean, they literally are. There's people out there who are afraid to say anything to anybody else because they're afraid Grand Design's going to turn them away. And especially if you got second owners, second or third owners that have these rigs out on the roads.
I mean, the
They
hit for their company, the name Grand Design, which used to be so, people would just seek out that company, is now going to be
yeah
people are not going to be seek. I mean, they have to know that, like, just by staying silent and not trying to take care of the problem, that whole reputation of we stand by our customers, customers for life is going to get so hurt, and then people's resale value. As soon as you try to go to sell a Grand Design now, people are gonna be like, "Oh, I don't want to touch that. That frame flex, frame flex." We're not buying a Grand Design. We're not buying a used. You feel
yeah
like you want to get on top of that as quick as you can.
I will tell you that's already happening. I know somebody from a dealership, and he's had to turn away. I think it was three or four different Grand Designs, Momentum, Solitudes. He said, "I can't put these on my lot. I cannot put these on my lot
That's crazy.
because yeah,
Listen,
and
I
I
gotta I
understand
gotta
why.
sell my Solitude one day. Okay, so everybody watching this, so far I have no signs of frame flex. Okay, but no, I know. I think that's what everybody's kind of fearing right now.
Yeah,
Everybody who owns one of these.
yeah, it is. It's one thing if it's stationary someplace and it's never going to get moved,
Yeah.
but the part that blows me away too is they sell this whole thing you could take them off road and everything else, and I've had a few people not argue with me but disagree with me on the whole taking them off road. This rig here, even with independent suspension, I would not take off road
I
because I
mean,
will have not just a magnetic bowl of screws, I will have a bucket, a 5 gallon bucket of screws that fall out of this thing from that. That's how poorly built these are,
forget
but
about
they're
off
selling them that
road.
way.
I mean, these highways are
Yeah,
bad enough going down that. No, and believe me,
they're,
like I
yeah,
said, I'm breaking leaf springs left and right, and I'm just
yeah.
like, we grin and bear as we go over some of these bumps. Like I'm like, oh, there went a leaf spring, there went something. I after breaking an axle on the highway, and I had to tow my camper with only three wheels, with the
Oh,
one wheel off with the axle blocked up. I had to tow it going 20
right.
miles per hour on the interstate at nighttime to get it to a shop with three wheels, watching my tire pressure just rise from the one last
Yeah.
that's white knuckling right there. So yeah, people want peace of mind when they take these things out,
Chris, here's the thing too, and you just said it right there. This is a safety issue. I mean, it's not just the rig itself, but you being out there having to limp the thing in, out on the freeway like this. This is a massive safety issue.
Yes.
And it just seems like, and I'm going to say it, it seems like Grand Design doesn't care. The what do they call it? The bottom dollar seems to be more of a concern than anything else in this case. They literally have cut corners massively.
I just
Uh-huh.
saw a recall
Oh, so there's a recall right now
I
on
saw it too.
U-bolts for the 2024s.
U-bolt solitudes and
Right. And
yeah.
and that's important. Don't get me wrong. That's extremely important.
Yep.
But let me ask you something. If you had to compare the two, which one do you think is more important? A frame failure where your rig is falling apart? Or better yet, you have somebody going down the road, their pin box breaks off into their truck bed from a frame failure issue. The safety issue alone should be a reason why there should be some sort of federal regulation. We're going down US highways. Do trucks have to have, Aren't they regulated?
Yeah.
Um, do cars have to have some regulation? Of course they do. What doesn't have to have regulation is an RV that goes down the road, except for the exception of motor coaches. Some of them have a little bit of regulation, I was told,
Okay.
but these RVs don't. They have none. And so it baffles me. It
Well,
baffles me.
I hope we move things forward. I hope this video helps out, and I hope
Yeah.
it helps out the people watching. And if you're having these issues, and that's like, again, that's what a big part of our channel is. It's safety. I mean, I have so many videos on fire safety and just anything that goes with these RVs to keep you safer out there on the road and make people aware of what they need to do, and make people aware of how to fix them and take care of them, because that's a huge issue. Not only is it just with frames and things like that, but we all know we have a huge to-do list if you're an RV owner of just things that are always going wrong, repairs you got to make. So this is a bad one though, and hopefully we, start to get some sort of something out there from Graham Design and Lippert and these other companies to make some changes. But until the meantime, I'll have links down to the page,
Grand Design RV major issues.
where you can
Yeah.
go, and there's a community of people if you want to talk about leaf springs, frame failure, anything like that. And everybody helps everybody out there and shows you kind of who to contact, how to get things fixed. And if you need to contact, I'll have, Wes's on the move down there. You can, reach out to Pete, and you can reach out to his contacts at Grand Design and maybe get you guys some help, because that's what people need right now.
Yeah, they do. They need it badly.
Yep.
So.
So, I tell you what, Pete, it was a pleasure talking to you. And
You too.
we really, brought some things to light. And we may have to do another one of these